Alright guys, so in this video we're going to talk a little bit more of a bushcrafty side of things, okay, because this is a bushcrafted survival channel. We've been doing a lot of soldiering stuff, basics for the Minuteman type situation, just soldiering basics for the everyday person, because we got to get everybody back into that. Everybody has got to get prepared to do whatever is necessary to keep our freedom, because it ain't over yet, guys. I'm not gonna go deep into that because I said I wouldn't. This is gonna be a little bit more lighthearted. But all those Minuteman stuff is all just basic stuff, food for thought for you to get you on the right track. Okay, and we will be continuing that. Not on a every video basis, but every few videos we will talk about Minuteman stuff, because everybody has to maintain a level of preparedness at all times. From now on, we're not going to let this stuff just ride anymore. Okay? You with me? I hope so. Alright, so for decades since the 80s, I have had an interest in bees and honey and beekeeping and so forth, and I have studied beekeeping a great deal over the years in my spare time. Dealt with bees a bit, but I never had the chance to have my own apiary and have a bunch of hives like some fellows do, because of the work I've done in the past and so on, and always never being anywhere for too long, because of work, right? The work that I did and so forth. But now I have the chance to settle down and have an apiary, and now that we have the cackling commie not breathing down our neck anymore with communism, we have a little bit of a breather, okay, a little bit of breathing space. I'm going to go ahead and get myself some hives together, because I want my own honey and so on, right? And you say, well, how are you going to do that? Well, like I said, since the early 80s, I have been on and off with beekeeping. So I'm freshening up myself on some stuff. Basically, I'm looking to see what kind of hives are out there now, because there used to be only a couple of different style hives. Now there's like a bunch of them. But I'm going to talk to you. I want to talk to you a little bit about honey. Okay, that's one thing I want to talk to you about, and I want to talk to you a little bit about bees and some of the issues that beekeepers have. Okay, and I'm not gonna do that all in this one video. It's just it's a vast subject. So in the next few videos, I'm gonna do some bee videos specifically about certain subjects with bees. And some of these things that I talk about are probably going to make other beekeepers mad or upset. Okay, they probably will. But as usual, I always ask people to keep an open mind and to curb their tongue until they've had to think about what I've said. Okay, and I made a special study. I did a lot of research on bees, because there are different types of bees and so forth, and that's why some people are going to get upset with me. Some people in other countries will not be upset with me at all. They will 100% agree with me 100%. 100%, right? But the where you're going to find the disagreement with me is people in the United States. That's where the disagreement will definitely come from, because beekeepers in the United States have been conditioned to believe a certain way. Okay? And that's really through no fault of their own. That's just because of the government interfering, more or less. Again, as usual, right? Usually when you see that there's an issue with something, usually the government is the root problem. You get the government out of the way and you start doing things naturally, then those conditions will start correcting themselves, right? One of the big problems that we have is interference of man into God's creation. The bee, right? Okay, God's creation is the bee. So this is one of the issues that we have, is we have too much interference from mankind into God's creation, which has caused problems, and mankind will not let that be corrected naturally. They keep trying to interfere with things like, miticides and things like that, right? I constantly see it online. These companies that sell bee products and so on, constantly pushing drugs, just like pharmacists, right? Just like drug companies. They constantly are pushing treatments and so on and so forth. I'm completely a natural person. I do not believe in treatments. And another thing is that you will. I've already got people clicking off now just because I said that, because I'm into the natural stuff and not interfering with chemicals and stuff like that, right? So, and then you have a lot of people that they are trying to genetically breed aggressiveness out of bees. This is a big mistake. A big mistake. There are several different types of bees, and one of the most docile bees that beekeepers seem to love to work with, at least in the United States, is the Italian honeybee. Now that bee, there are a lot of times where you just, you could walk around that hive in a t-shirt and flip-flops and a hat, no protection, and those bees will not bother you whatsoever. You get people just go into the hives and they don't have any protection on, no gloves, or minimal with the veil, and the bees are too busy. Those Italian honeybees, they go about their business, and they unless you're like really doing, you got to really be doing something to get them to swarm at you and attack you, right? So those are not the types of bees that you want. You don't want those bees. Everybody's clicking off right now, or they're sending this video already. They're sending it to some other beekeeper. Man, this guy's crazy. What's the matter with this guy? It's all that conditioning that they've been put through. It's all of that conditioning that the USDA and so forth have been putting them through over the years. No, what you want is you want fierce bees. You want fierce bees. That's right. There are two types of bees. Three types of bees. Okay, because the second type is actually a derivative of the first type, right? Well, let's say four types of bees, because I just thought of something else. Gotta get me a slug of coffee here. Oops. Well. There it is. It's my little electrical tape thing I use for a coaster. Repurposed, guys. Electrical tape. Those little plastic dealies they come in these days. Some of them do. Anyway, let's get back to the bees. There's 4 different types of bees that that I would recommend to use in this country that will basically take care of varroa mite and small hive beetles. Basically, you know, just you don't even have to worry about it because they will take them out. That's why I said you got to have fierce bees. If you get a bee like the Italian honeybee, I've seen guys just scoop them up with their hands before. You know, you don't want that. What you want is you want a bee that genetically, if anything comes into the hive that's not supposed to be there, they should all be attacking it. Okay? Now, I'm just going to use varroa mites as the thing that I'm just going to concentrate on the varroa mite. But you can apply it to other stuff, right? Small hive beetle, okay? If you don't know what a small hive beetle is, look it up. Alright, so varroa mites, basically they're an arachnid, right? They're an 8-legged mite that attaches to any and all bees. It basically kills them by eating, you know, you as a person, you know, you get a layer of fat inside, right? So that's your stores, that's your reserves, right? For when you're not eating, your body can go on that fat. Well, this is what varroa mites do. They attach and then they just feed off the bee, right? Till it dies. And get too high of a mite count, then that's gonna eventually just take out your colony. Now, Italian bees, they are so focused on their jobs, you know, that they ignore things like varroa mites. They ignore them. They ignore things that get into the hive for the most part. Their most concentration is in keeping the cycle going. Egg to pupa to you know, being born, to being a nurse bee, and you know, being a guard bee, and you know, all of that stuff. All of those different stages, that's all they're concerned about. You know, making sure that their queen is well taken care of. So that's the problem. That's the problem. So when anything is introduced into the hive, like a varroa mite, they're like, they don't pay any attention. They don't take care of it. So we're going to come back in another video here, and we're going to talk more about that, because I know now you're on the edge of your seat, right? We're going to talk about how other bees handle that. See you there.